I am Bindu. You have noticed that burning wood leaves ash the end. Can you imagine, where does the matter of wood go? Does it vanish? Wet clothes dry after some time. But what about water? Where does it go? In this session, we are going to find out answers to all these questions. Today's topic is laws of chemical combination from atoms and molecules. Learning outcomes. At the end of this session, you will be able to understand about laws of chemical combination, law of conservation of mass, law of constant proportion. Keywords: mass, reactants, products, law of conservation of mass. Mass either be created nor destroyed in a chemical reaction. Law of constant proportion. In a chemical substance, the elements are always present in definite proportion by mass. The law of chemical combination consists of two different laws. One is the law of conservation of mass. The other is the law of constant proportion. Before starting this session, let's look at this concept map. Our first topic is the law of conservation of mass. Hey children, look at this noble man. Do you know who is he? A very famous French scientist, Antoine Lavoisier. He made many important contributions to chemistry, and some call him the father of modern chemistry. Earlier, it was thought that the mass of charcoal decreases on burning. Lavoisier studied combustion reactions in detail. Lavoisier carried out the burning of charcoal in a closed apparatus and found no change in mass. He was able to find the masses of reactants and products accurately irrespective of their physical states. Based on his observations, he proposed the law of conservation of mass. Matter is neither created or destroyed during a chemical reaction. Let's start with an interesting activity. For this activity, we need to take lead nitrate, potassium iodide, distilled water, two conical flasks, a digital balance, a small test tube, a retort stand, rubber cork, thread, etc. Prepare a solution of lead nitrate by dissolving lead nitrate in distilled water in a conical flask. Prepare a potassium iodide solution by dissolving potassium iodide in distilled water in a small test tube. Hang the test tube containing potassium iodide solution in the conical flask containing lead nitrate solution carefully by using thread without mixing the solutions. Close the flask with a cork. Weight the flask with its contents carefully. Now, tilt and swirl the flask so that the two solutions mix. Weight the flask again. The weight of the flask and contents before mixing is equal to the weight of the flask and contents after mixing. So, it proves that if a chemical reaction takes place, the mass remains the same before and after the chemical reaction. The main statement of the law of conservation of mass is, matter is either created not destroyed during a chemical reaction. Our next topic is the law of constant proportions. Law of constant proportions was given by Joseph L. Proust. Between 1798 and 1808. One day, he was working in his laboratory with two samples of copper carbonate, a compound of copper, carbon and oxygen. He took a sample from nature and another sample prepared in the lab. He decomposed both the samples chemically to find the percentage of copper, carbon and oxygen. He found the same percentage of copper, carbon and oxygen in both the samples. But Proust had a little doubt. So, to confirm, he did another test. He took water from different source and found that the percentage of oxygen and hydrogen was the same in all samples. There was no relation between the place from where the sample came and its composition. Based on his experiments and observation, Proust gave the law of constant proportions. A given chemical substance always contains the same elements combined in fixed proportions by mass. In the 17th century, scientists had been trying to find methods for converting one substance into another. During their studies of chemical changes, they made these two laws and they are together known as laws of chemical combination. What you have learnt? The law of chemical combination consists of two different laws. One is the law of conservation of mass, the other one is the law of constant proportion. The law of conservation of mass was given by Antoine Lavoisier. The total mass of the products formed in a chemical reaction is exactly equal to the mass of the reactants. This is the law of conservation of mass. The law of constant proportion was given by Joseph L. Proust. In a chemical substance, the elements are always present in fixed proportions by mass. This is known as the law of constant proportion.